Welcome back to Eyes on Leafs, everyone. I hope you guys have enjoyed the time between our last pods. There's been some big stories on NHL. I'm back. I hope Seb and Jacob put together a good show. I was saying off camera that I haven't been able to go back and watch it yet, and I've been meaning to, but I'm sure they did great.
Just give the keys to me and Jacob again.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure. All right.
It was a good show.
We're gonna keep it pushing here. I really don't want to talk about this. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're gonna touch on just a brief overview of what we're doing today. Just some Leafs talk, league talk, like we usually do. There's not really any goalie corner today. I don't think there's anything been that substantial for
Jumbotron
goalies.
corner.
Jumbotron corner.
I don't think
Fidget
if we
spinner
have time.
corner?
If we have time.
Jumbotron.
No, we're not. Because we got league talk, and we're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter today, guys. So we're going to also try to do trade deadline look back. But that really just depends on the timing. Stop laughing, Sub. Get it together here. Let's set this back on the rails. Okay, so started off with Leafs talk like usual. Just some. I think we're gonna. I want to talk about the injuries first, and then we'll get to the recent play. McCabe and Kampf are day-to-day according to Berube, but that is the Berube day-to-day, so they could just not be playing all playoffs, and we don't really know. They could be dead. But anyways, yeah, McCabe and Kampf day-to-day. Obviously, McCabe is a big loss. I mean, probably the
huge,
most substantial piece on that blue line. I mean, Tanev obviously would be right there with him, but I mean, if he's not one, he's two. I'd argue.
Yeah, for sure. We saw it. We saw it earlier this year when McCabe was out. Like, they struggled, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was
bad.
this earlier this season when he was out. They really struggled, and we talked about it on the pod a while ago. How like it really showed the importance of McCabe.
Yeah.
So I really hope it's not a long time. This is kind of more just like a precautionary, like going into the playoffs kind of thing.
Hopefully, yeah, and obviously now, unlike back then when McCabe was hurt, we have Carlo, and Riley isn't completely useless anymore.
He's been better.
Yeah,
he's been a lot better, and I think Ekman Larson has honestly improved. Not
He's
to
been
say that
steady.
he was,
Like,
he's been steady, right? Not
he
to say
hasn't
that
been
he was bad before,
yeah.
but he's just found his place on the roster.
I mean, he's a lot better when you play him on the third pair, right? Like you're not forcing him
For sure.
to the top four.
For
You're
sure.
playing a little more sheltered minutes. So
I think that was definitely the goal going into the season was for him to kind of be like a more premium kind of bottom pairing guy.
it just kind of sucks that he's getting paid 4.5 to play third pair minutes.
Three and a half.
Oh, sorry, 3.5.
I mean,
Yeah.
it sucks a little bit, but I think he also kind of provides what they need, and it helps kind of spread it out more throughout the lineup. Like, the Leafs struggled so bad last year at moving the puck from the back end. And although the Leafs don't get a lot of points from their back end, they don't get a lot of goals, they've been way better at moving the puck and getting stretch passes and, just
I do
getting
think
it
they gotta
through.
be a little bit better on the breakout. Like I think we've seen it a lot this year. This struggle with getting the puck out of their own end. The breakout's been a little bit sloppy. I know it's not always going to be perfect, but I do think that there is still room for improvement, which is a little bit concerning to me.
It's a lot better than last year, though.
Oh,
Last year was
100%. I mean,
horrific.
I mean, listen, the last year especially with the trade deadline acquisitions, I think my first ever article for Editor and Leaf was saying that Chilliman should stand pat because that roster just wasn't good enough. And I mean, I think we saw that in the first round, losing the first round again. I mean, regardless of how impressive the fight was, listen, if that series was the first ever time they were in the playoffs and you missed Nylander and you missed Matthews, I think we look back on that series against Boston a little bit differently, just as the fight that they put to get into the Game 7. But obviously, the whole history there, I mean, we don't have to get into it. We know what the history is with this team, and to be honest with you, I really don't care the fight. No, we're not getting into it.
No,
today.
honestly, and that's one of the things that makes me excited for this year in the playoffs is that they actually have a fairly respectable roster this year, and we've seen it with the increased. I mean, I don't know if you could say increased regular season success. Maybe there's just less competition in the Atlantic Division this year, and that's why they've been able to soar to the top of
I just don't think you have juggernauts, Like, I mean, listen, you might have juggernauts still. Like, I still think that a fully healthy Florida team is extremely scary. Tampa looks unreal.
For sure.
I just don't think you have the regular season juggernauts that we've had with that Boston team. That was probably the best regular season team of all time.
Team ever,
was.
Best regular season team ever.
You had those Tampa teams that were doing that still. You had Florida winning the President's Trophy. Like, a lot of the President's Trophy winners came out of the Atlantic in the last couple of years. And I mean, obviously last year was the Rangers, but but yeah, for the most part, it came out of the Atlantic. And listen, sometimes you just throw your hands up in the air and it's like, geez, like they're rolling. Like, I mean, it was completely unreasonable for you to expect the Leafs to compete with that Boston team in the regular season the other year. I mean, like sometimes a team gets hot and that's what happens, and it is what it is. But I mean, now we're in a position that it looks like, listen, if they take care of business against Tampa, I believe that's Tuesday, or no, that's Florida Tuesday, Tampa
Florida
Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you take care of business, and if Florida just lost again today, so if you take care of business against Florida, I mean, Florida, I think if you win against Florida, they're out of the picture. Like, you're not even worried about them for the division, but you're worried about Tampa. And listen,
Yeah, you're worried
Florida,
about them playing them in the first round.
I do not want to talk about that yet. We're going to talk about the playoff race later. Save it, your thoughts on Florida. But strictly for the Leafs, you're in a position, I think you're in the driver's seat to win this division, and you got to do that. I think they've only won the division 7 times in the franchise's history, if you count the Canadian division, which I mean a lot of people like debate whether it
I mean, if they
counted,
didn't win the Canadian division, there would have been a serious problem,
that
because
division was so bad, man. Oh my god.
if you go back and look at that, you
so
have
bad.
it was Toronto was really the only team that was any good in that division. Then like Winnipeg got swept by the fucking 2021 Montreal Canadiens round 2.
Edmonton got swept by Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Edmonton was, I forgot like how just mid Edmonton was before they had their finals run.
I think that was that was either the last or the second last Duncan Keith year.
Yeah, it was.
Edmonton.
Oh,
that was another Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith tandem.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
No, the
What
Leafs.
were the Oilers doing?
The Leafs have really like kind of pulled away with it here. The past few
I mean,
games.
not quite yet. Like, I think Tampa's still on their ass. But if Tampa beats them on Wednesday, like, if Tampa beats them on Wednesday, then they're within 2 points. I'm pretty sure.
That's still, but like at this point in the season, like I keep saying it, but like it's hard to make those points up, and it's kind of crazy that the lead keeps like bouncing around because it is difficult to make up those points. But even if Tampa wins that on Wednesday, the Leafs don't necessarily have like the craziest schedule difficulty.
And the Leafs look good on.
I think are the other teams aside from the Florida teams, right?
Yeah, like it's
and the Leafs look good on tiebreakers against Tampa
Detroit.
too. Like they've got they're pretty much tied for regulation wins, but Leafs have 4 more ROWs.
That's the other thing too. Like the Leafs kind of sweep in every tiebreaker besides like
except
goal differential, but I doubt it gets to that.
Which has been interesting. Like, I don't know. I've been going really back and forth with how good I actually think this team is, because I think we've seen in the past where teams just kind of they find ways to win games and they get to the playoffs and it's like, all right, well, like the joke's kind of up, like you kind of like time out. So that's what's been hard for me with the Leafs. Is sometimes I think I'm like, wow, they really look terrible tonight, and at the end of the night they win, and I'm like, they did not look great, but they won again, and I don't know what to make of it, you know. Like,
I feel differently about this Leafs team than I have of Leafs teams in the past, just because I feel like first off, they're getting more scoring depth than they have in the past. Like, even
that's fair.
Consider a guy like Steven Lorentz, who
4 game-winning goals.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time the Leafs had a fourth liner pitching in? I mean, what does he have, like 6 goals? That's not a lot, but I mean,
that's 7 goals with 4 game winners. Like,
yeah, like that's big.
Clutch.
And like, even defensively, I don't know if I've ever watched a Leafs team that is this sound.
Well, I think the biggest thing, and we're gonna get to the goaltending, because I want to talk about game 1 story, but yeah,
too,
like I'm sure you were about to get to that, but I try and cut you off. I apologize, but
no, it's okay.
The goaltending has been fantastic. Like, I wrote an article for. You know what? I think we're getting to the game 1 starter now, because I think we've kind of said enough about the recent performances. Like, I don't really think there's a lot to say about that 5-0 Columbus win.
They just
like Robertson is a lock.
Robertson scratch that guy in game 6. Scratch him in game 6, please. Scratch him.
No, honestly, don't play him for the first 6 games and then just put him in game 7. See what happens.
He's gonna score 5 goals.
He had a great game last night. 2 goals. He had a nice hit on Provorov. I think it was a little bit borderline. You could probably call him from behind, but I mean, it was a big hit.
He kind of has a villain origin story too, with getting scratched, because I mean, he played 4 games against Columbus in 2020 and then got scratched for game 5 for Andreas Janssen, who had not played a hockey game in 6 months. And let's just Andreas Janssen is not a guy you put in.
He's not Kucherov, dude. What? That never made sense. But Yeah, and then obviously, I mean, the win against Florida was so long, it's kind of hard. I think it was like right after you guys recorded, if I'm not wrong.
No, the Florida game was after the Ducks game, where Domi fucking turnstile.
Yeah. When did you guys record? I can't remember.
We recorded it last Sunday.
So did you guys get the Florida game?
No.
No?
Florida game hadn't happened yet. We didn't talk about it at all.
So obviously,
that game was a strong defensive. Like they let
was
in a
strong,
goal to
but-
bring it in to a 1-goal game, but
I gotta be honest, I'm kind of struggling to see how valuable that win really is when you're looking at comparing them to Florida, just because you have no Barkov, you have no Tkachuk, you have no Ekblad.
Yeah.
And listen, it's big in the sense that you get those 2 points and you kind of got Florida off your ass a little bit. You give yourself a little bit of breathing room, but I don't think it means anything for playoffs. Like,
man,
trying
you
to,
know what?
compare them.
No, I'm still gonna give it to them because the Leafs pulled out wins earlier this season with Matthews out. They had weren't Matthews and Tavares out at the same time at one point?
Yeah, I think so.
Like Matthews and Tavares were out at the same time.
Tavares, I
McCabe
think,
was out at points.
sick.
Stolarz was out at points. Wool was out at point. Like,
Wait,
they found ways to pull it out. Dude, don't you remember at the beginning of the season we were literally playing like it was almost like 4 Marlies lines. It was ridiculous.
Dude, we tried Willie at center because it was that bad.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. We were so depleted, and we were pulling out wins out of our ass. That's why I like injuries are one thing, but I mean, you got to win who you're playing against, and they won against Florida.
Yeah, listen, they still have Reinhardt in.
It was a massive game.
Yeah, Bobrovsky.
Today was a different story. For Florida.
Dude, today they had nobody. That's the AHL lineup that they had today. That was tough.
Florida's on a bad skid right now.
We'll get to them still, but I wanted to pull it back to the game one starter. Yeah, goaltending. I wrote an article for Editor and Leaf that came out a few days ago with who my game one starter is, and I should preface this conversation by saying I said in my article as well, I'm completely comfortable with both guys. Like, I really don't think there's really a wrong choice here. But I do want to get both of your picks before I give mine. I think mine's already out there, but I think it might be different from the two of you. So I want to hear what you guys have. So Seb, if you want to go first with your game one starter.
Stolarz has been playing more recently, but my answer still hasn't changed from last time we kind of talked about this. I still want Wool.
Yeah.
Wool, I think, had a couple shaky games since we talked about it, but for me, it's still just watching him last year in the playoffs with just how calm, and just in general.
Comfort blanket, man.
He's so calm in the net. Again, last year he is literally, and I don't mean this lightly, he is literally the only reason we pushed that series to 7 games.
100%. We gave him no goal support, dude.
That guy just finds a way to lock it in the playoffs, and I mentioned this before too. He kind of has that same gene as Martin Jones, and where they might let in maybe like 3 goals in a game or 4 goals in a game.
They shut
the
door.
The second they're up or the second they need to protect the lead, he shuts it down. Mm-hmm. And that quality, I think, is so important. For me, it's still Joseph Wool.
All right, Jacob, who do you have?
I think last time we talked about this, I had said without a doubt Joseph Wool. I'm reconsidering now just because there's such a small margin in between these two guys. Like, so far this season, they've both shown up when it matters. They've both been clutch. Like, they've both been guys you can rely on. Like, honestly, how many games are left now? 6?
6 or 5.
5 or 6. I think it's 6.
Yeah. Well, however many games are left.
It's 6 because they have
games. Yeah, 6 games.
Yeah, like, I can't give you a confident answer, but I think I'm going to lean towards Joseph Wool just because of what Seb says. Like,
all right, so we have
he has the playoff experience. I don't know if Stolarz does, but
like Mateo said though, like Stolarz is also like perfectly fine. I really do not mind who starts. It's more just like I'm kind of more comfortable with what I've seen in the past work really well.
But the good thing
I think Wool is the goalie of the future for this team.
I kind of want a goalie to know right now. I'm not gonna lie. This is my. You know what? I'm turning it into the goalie corner. Here we go. Jacob, finish your thought, and then I'm going to goalie corner.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say myself, honestly.
Thank God, finally. The good news though is I think if if you go Wool game 1 and he shits the bed, just go Stolarz game 2. It's no problem. Like you have options, but I mean, if you don't have it figured out by game 3, 4, I mean, that's where that gets scary. But
could we see them
you got an
split?
option.
Could we see them split going into the playoffs?
No, I don't want to see that.
No, you can't.
That's
do that,
never
dude.
worked ever.
No.
That has not worked since 1930,
It is
man.
not. You've had guys who've gone for stretches and then they play bad, and then other guys go for stretches. I think we kind of saw it with.
I think that's what we could see happen here. Like,
yeah, I
see a
just
guy
don't want
play
the
like a
alternating
round or
visions.
two. They
For sure,
start
yeah.
falling off their play and they'll switch to the other. Like, I think we could see something.
I mean,
like that.
look at Olmark and Swayman just last year. Like they always alternated starts in the regular season. Then they tried it in the playoffs. They didn't like Olmark game 2, and then Swayman just shut the door for the rest of the series.
Okay.
The rest of the playoffs.
Impromptu goalie corner. Here we go. I'm so dialed in. Okay. All right. So I wrote the article, and I thought I was gonna be my answer would have been different than you two, just based off what I saw on Twitter, on the radio, just throughout the media. I think a lot of people were leaning Stolarz, but I said Wool in my article. And it is a lot of the same reasons Seb said. I think I outlined in my article. We've seen him do it. I love the way he moves in his crease. I think he's so calm, confident. I feel like he plays big. He could give you the athletic save when you need it. He makes the saves that he should make, and he'll give you the saves that he probably shouldn't. I do think sometimes he has a little bit of a tendency to allow a softie every few games, but I don't think it's Freddie level, where Freddie would play unbelievable and then a soft goal and then it was like backbreaking. I don't think he gives you the soft goals at the backbreaking times.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's not backbreaking.
Yeah.
Like that's really the adjective for this. Like some of those goals could be backbreak. Like you're cooked in that game.
And I think we saw with Sammy last year, and I believe it was game 4, where Bertuzzi ties it. Frederick comes down the wing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you talking about? Game 4 for game 7?
No, game 7.
Lindholm.
Listen, game 7 for sure. But I remember game 4 just being, because the Leafs couldn't get anything going all night on Swayman. They couldn't. I think Mo fires a shot into the front of the net. It bounced off Bertuzzi's light and it goes in. And it felt like, oh shit, like it's tie game. Here we go. And then the next shift, Frederick comes down the wing, like throws a floater on net, goes underneath Sammy's blocker and short side, and Boston gets it back, and the game was over. But pulling it back to this year, I think Wool's confident. I think some of the little things I've seen in Stolarz' game. Listen, I think he's been playing great. He's a big goalie. His rebound control scares me a little bit. I feel like sometimes he forces himself to make more saves than he really should, with just how
What's
his
that?
rebound
Wool or
control.
Stolarz?
Stolarz, sorry. Stolarz, yeah, big body. But like I said, I think his rebound control scares me a little bit. I do think Stolarz is a better puck handler, which does tend to matter, especially in the playoffs, because when you go up against teams like Florida, who play a really good dump and chase style, they're looking to hurt you in the corner as a defenseman. The first 2 games, I don't think they give a shit about if they win or lose that game. Their sole objective is to batter you when you don't get that puck in the corner, so you're exhausted for the back half of the series. And I think having a goalie who can move the puck and progress the puck and help your defenseman out a little bit more is really valuable. And I think Nyes even said that he's kind of ruthless back there, like he's yelling at them a lot. And I think that having a very loud goalie does help the decor. But I want to go Wool. What?
Knowing Florida though, like Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand won't give a fuck if it's like a goalie back there. They're just gonna run him over.
Well, I'd rather Stolarz. I'd rather Stolarz take the hit and take the power play. Then like level. Imagine they level Tanev in the corner, and he just dislocates his shoulder. Like, great, that's great, guys.
Just pop it back in. Just pop it back in. But no, I think I'm going Wool. I just think that we've seen it from him. I think Stolarz is still a big question. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say you would rather Stolarz get injured than Wool.
No.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were going, man.
That's where that was headed.
No, I'm saying I'd rather the goalie take a half-ass bump than Tanev get labeled in the corner and plastered along the glass at Scotiabank in game 1.
Turned into a poster.
Yeah.
Anyways, that one clip of Ovechkin, that guy on the Senators, was it Ovechkin?
Yeah, it was like a.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It was just like the.
It was like
But yeah.
Okay.
I tying it back together here. Let's get this back on the rails. I think Stolarz has a lot of redeeming qualities. I still think Wool isn't great handling the puck. We've seen him mess up a couple times.
Hey,
I already
Yeah.
dropped like 2 F-bombs this pod. It's okay.
You're right.
I mean,
Anyways,
Wolf's
yeah, we've
not
seen him mess
that
up
bad
a
handling the puck. Like, I mean,
he
that
makes a
wasn't
couple
an
mistakes.
goal.
I remember last year against Ottawa. I remember because I was there. He gave up the puck behind the net and they scored and it kind of iced the game. And then this year against San Jose, I think that game was kind of an outlier. Like, I think he had a terrible game against San Jose. I thought that was one of the worst I've seen him played. And it happens. It is what it is. But I still think I go Wool. I just think we've seen him do it in the playoffs. It's a little bit different, I think, to play in Toronto, especially during playoff time, especially with how. Listen, they did a lot of shit for how quiet that building is, and I think it's a lot of nervous energy more than it is excitement. And this team has given this crowd a lot more reasons to be nervous and excited about anything ever. So, I mean, I think it's understandable.
Why would I be excited about watching the Leafs?
In the playoffs? Yeah, I know.
Both goalies get the crowd going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, both goalies get them going nuts.
I think there's a few things that get the crowd loud in Toronto. It's a fight, it's a big hit, and it's a big save. Also, underrated, big shot blocks on the penalty kill get the crowd riled up.
Yes, big penalty kills.
Yeah.
Big penalty kills in Toronto are crazy.
Do you guys remember Game 1 against Tampa? It was
when
the 5-minute
the
major.
5 minute. Yeah, no,
that
that
the
set
crowd
the tone
was
for the game because the
wild.
Leafs killed it and
Totally.
the crowd was electric. And I think we scored. We scored right before the end of the first period. Muzzin took a slap shot from the point and it went in. And
I don't know how you remember these things. God,
yeah,
dude.
I block out all these memories, dude.
Camp scored a short-handed goal that game too. I think the Leafs won like 5-1.
I
Matthews
remember
had
that.
Yeah.
Like,
I
bro,
remember
those
Camp,
camp like playoff runs. That guy just was Vasilevsky kryptonite.
Yeah.
You know what I remember is Connor Duer's breakaway in Game 7 against Boston.
I do too.
I remember that one.
Didn't Joel Edmondson get one? I thought Joel Edmondson had like a
breakaway?
breakaway
I don't remember
at some
that.
point.
I don't remember. Maybe.
But
I
yeah,
don't know if it was
listen.
against Boston.
Joseph Wool, Game 1 starter. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're done. We're done with this conversation. But like I said,
Joseph Wool Game 1 started for sure.
short leash
In
for
my
both of them because they're both great. And yeah, I'm happy with whoever starts for this. Still, regardless of how I feel about Stolarz' rebound control, he's still been playing fantastic, and I think he deserves a look in the playoffs still. All right, moving on past the Leafs. I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. I think it's been pretty. We've covered everything. Yeah, okay.
Matthews.
Oh yeah, Matthews.
9 straight 30-goal seasons.
Ridiculous.
I'm running this like Don Cherry now. Shut up, Don Cherry time. Ready? I just gonna start rambling. 30-goal season for the kid. This is how you play hockey. No, listen, 9 straight 30-goal seasons.
Good Canadian boy.
Dude,
Awesome
this
guy.
Canadian from Arizona.
we've like
He plays
bro,
in Toronto anyway.
dude, we've been like Matthews is having like an extraordinarily down year for his standards, and he's still popping 30 goals. This guy has never
dude, he's
scored
still 10 points over
This
point per
guy's
game. Like-
never scored less than 30 goals in his career.
Well, I was talking.
You know
to
what
my
pisses
dad-
me
I was
off
talking
about
to my dad
Matthews though is
this,
that
And sorry, Jacob. I was just talking to my dad about it. I was like, it's crazy how they're fighting for the division lead, and he's only scored 30. My dad's like, well, yeah, but he's also missed like 15 games. So like, it's kind of understandable he only has 30. And
He
if
missed
you
like
look
a
at the
month, and he
points-
still has 30 goals.
Yeah.
if he was never injured, he would have scored 40 goals every year of his
And
career, which is crazy. To me.
Listen, this is another point that I wanted to bring up is that even in the games he's played this year, he's been playing through that injury, and he still found a way to this. And
to be effective in certain games, like I think we haven't seen Matthews be effective in goal scoring as much this season. Which, like, while yes, it is. I don't want to say it's hurt the team because like they're still doing great. They found ways to work around it, but he's found ways to be effective as like a better playmaker, and just like defensively, we know what to expect with Matthews at this point. This guy should at least win one Selke in his career.
The promise is
sure,
the heart.
yeah.
Like,
And
the Selke is really the second best player in the NHL. It's not really the best defensive forward. Like, if we're being serious, like it's always a runner-up to the heart. Like that's if you look over history, aside from Bergeron and Barkov, it's a lot of times the second place.
So like aside from like everyone who wins it,
Listen,
Like O'Reilly,
listen,
Kopitar,
the last four winners
Bergeron.
are Barkov and Bergeron.
Before Bergeron and Barkov, like if you look in the '90s, a lot of it was like Doug Gilmour won the Selke, and it was like
True.
okay,
Yeah.
like I mean. I gotta be honest. I don't know how great his defensive game was, but like he scored 130.
He was pretty
like
good.
126 points.
I still think at least once in his career he needs a Selke because like he's genuinely one of the top defensive forwards in the league, and he's been that this season. I pretty much can always trust Matthews. He's been more physical this year too. He's
Yeah.
been really chipping in that way as
like,
well.
I feel like he's bought
hard
into
in
the system a
corners.
little bit. I think we've seen it a lot more.
For sure,
I think
for sure.
I think we always see in the playoffs, and a lot of people call him soft. And listen, he's not going to fight. I think the look
He
of him
shouldn't.
getting kind of bitched by Stamkos a little bit was a little bit tough.
He
when
shouldn't
he kind
fight.
of just like.
He should
That
not.
No, I
sounds
agree.
so funny.
I don't want
That
him
was
to break
so
his
funny.
hand, but I
That's
do
why
think he's
you-
physical in the playoffs. I think.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he lays
like,
hits. He's
I
not going
think-
to crush you, but he'll hit you. Like it's not.
I'm gonna make Mateo mad with this one, but honestly, I'm really excited for the playoffs because you mentioned Matthews buying into the system. I've liked what I've seen physically from Mitch Marner this season.
Okay,
too.
listen. Okay, I
I'm
have
listening.
been on the train all year that Mitch has looked better. Okay,
For sure.
but Mitch always looks good in the regular season. I have never said
Okay,
once
here's the
he's
thing.
not looking
Here's
good.
the-
And I
looks
listen,
different.
I know what you're saying. He's more physical. He looks different, and I totally agree. I just need to see it transfer over to the playoffs. And
For sure,
listen,
100%,
I'm
100%.
like the
You don't know
Marner
until you're
hater
there.
on the pod, but I want to love Marner so much because he's from Toronto, played for London.
Well,
Like
you only hate him because he doesn't show
that's
up
what I'm
when
saying.
it matters, right?
That's what I'm
If, like,
saying. Like I'm not. I have people like I have friends who call me haters, and Seb was one of them. But it's
So am I.
just because he does not show up. Like, please,
No,
dude,
that's-
once have a
Here's
takeover
the thing.
series.
That
here's
is
the thing.
totally
What
fair.
I will
I
say
mean-
is I'm optimistic because was our number one criticism of Mitch Marner against the Bruins last year not that he was a perimeter player, wasn't getting into the
Yep.
corners, was like avoiding body contact, playing the puck too much.
Yeah, he
and
had-
then I
there-
think we've seen the opposite this year.
There's one play that like is ingrained in my head because of how
Oh,
like
God.
enraged it made everybody last playoffs. It was that one play. I can't remember who the Boston defenseman was. I think it was
McAvoy.
It was McAvoy. They're going right into the corner. It's right around the goal line. He has a lane to the puck and he tries to go around McAvoy to get like a stick lift instead
Yeah.
of just putting him against the boards.
Yeah.
Letting somebody else come in and just getting it, or just lay the fucking body.
Dude,
in.
You,
You
do
don't
that stuff
need to
against
kill
Eric
somebody,
Goodbranson. You
just
don't do it on Charlie McAvoy.
Take them into the boards. I am not asking Mitch Marner to turn to Scott Stevens mid-shift and ruin somebody's
man.
life. At
Just
the,
finish
at
your
center
checks.
ice.
See,
Just
he
finish
can't
your
do
check,
that. Like,
dude. No.
he just like he's
It's
physically not-
unreasonable
he's
to
a small
expect
person.
that too. Yeah, it's not. I'm just saying, buy in a little bit more and we'll see. Listen, I'll be the happiest person on the planet if this team goes on a run and Mitch wins the Conn Smythe. I want Mitch to.
Yeah.
If Mitch starts playing the playoffs, sign him for whatever he wants because he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But please, dude, show up in the playoffs and stop acting like your life is terrible because you play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm so sick of that too.
Yeah.
And I said before the pod I was not going to get into Mitch and his contract, and here we go.
Okay, well,
8
to
by
throw you off
14
course a
and a
little
half.
bit here. Throw you off course here. Here's the over the last 10 years. Oh, sorry, Seb, go ahead. This is
No,
kind of
you
off
go
topic.
first. You go first. No.
was just gonna say,
Mine's off topic as well.
Here's the last 10 second best players in the National Hockey League. Barkov, Bergeron,
God,
Barkov,
here we go.
Sean Couturier,
Yeah, that was
second
embarrassing.
best player in the league in
Sorry.
2020.
Hand up accountability. Hand up accountability. That was a miss.
Ryan O'Reilly,
Hand
Anze
up.
Kopitar,
Hand up accountability.
Ryan
That was a
Kessler in
miss.
2011,
I think. Okay. Can we one more?
John
thing.
Madden in 2001. I don't even know who that
John
is.
Madden. Did Chris Drury win one?
Hand up accountability. I was
don't know.
wrong.
I closed the tab.
Hand up accountability. I was wrong. Okay.
One more thing, Jacob. I said this on the
Yeah.
last pod that I was going to ask Mateo, and I didn't.
Okay.
It's a little. It's odd now because more games have happened, but we set an over/under last week on William Nylander goals this season.
Oh yeah.
I set it at 48.5. I went
You're
under.
still not.
Jacob went over. What's your take here? Now it's a little different. He's at 44 goals with 6
But
games
it's
left.
42, is he not?
No, 44.
He said 2 last night.
Oh, 44, you're right.
Yeah.
6
Six
goals in
games
6
left.
games.
He needs 6 goals in 6 games.
The problem is that it's if they beat Tampa and they beat Florida, and then I think the division's wrapped up, and I think we might see them get.
That's
Like,
exactly what I said.
And I think I'm gonna take the under, and I just think it's because of that. And I think even this will look really stupid because they have some games that they should win, like Detroit and Buffalo at the end of the year. So if they are playing for the division, then he has to be big in those games. But I am going to take the under because I think they beat Florida on Tuesday, and
I was the same. Same
and I
thinking.
think they take care of business, and it's just to the point where they're kind of locked in, and
I was of the same mindset that like
Yeah.
if they're in a position where they don't necessarily need to win those games, if the division's kind of wrapped up at that point, then I think him and Matthews are both probably scratched.
100%. Matthews, dude, they might give Matthews like 3 games off if they can. Like I don't think they want him out
he
there.
shouldn't play those last 3 games if this division's locked up.
We set the over-under at 48.5?
48.5.
I'm still going over because 49 is over 48.5. He doesn't need to hit 50. I think he scores
Fair
5 goals
enough.
this year.
Okay. I want to move on from the Leafs now. We kind of got sidetracked a little bit with the Mitch discussion, which we always do on this
That
pod.
never happens.
No, never.
Maybe we'll actually clip it this time.
No, don't, dude. I can't look at myself yell about Mitch again. I can't. All right, biggest story in the NHL. I think arguably the biggest story in the sports world right now. Ovi passed Gretzky, the record that we've been kind of tracking all year. There's not much to say about this aside from how incredible it is. This guy, how old is he now? Is he
39?
39. He broke his leg this season. He still has 40 goals.
Dude.
He's a machine, dude. And I don't know. I don't want to talk about how I feel about Washington right now because I don't want to take away from how incredible it is that Ovi broke the record, and I think I'm just going to keep it on that. Maybe I'll talk about them a little bit later when we talk about the playoff picture. But, I think Ovi, unbelievable, once-in-a-lifetime thing. I don't think we'll ever see someone pass it again.
No.
We thought the
Ovi
Gretzky
could
record
keep
was
going.
unbreakable.
Ovi can keep going. This guy's just scored 40 goals this season. Like, what's stopping him from going out and scoring another 30 next year?
He's gonna hit 900 for sure. 1,000
locked,
is
obviously.
1,000 is like it's
1,000's a
not
lot.
completely impossible,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
but I imagine because there's been rumblings that once this contract is done, he's gonna
He goes to
play a
KHL.
year.
Yeah.
He's gonna play in Russia, which he only has one more year left on his deal. So I think he probably gets at least to maybe like 920, 930.
Yeah, my brother was saying 930
Yeah.
yesterday. I tried to think about it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
930
actually. I can
around
see that.
there, I'd say. But yeah, man, it's I think the biggest thing about Ovechkin is the longevity. That's so hard to come. Like him and Crosby, their longevity is incredible. This guy has scored anywhere from 30 to 50 goals for his entire career. 30 to 65 was his career high, but on average, 30 to 50 goals every single season until he's 39, man. Like, this is ridiculous. Wayne Gretzky had 9 goals in, 70 games in his final season when he was 39.
The Rangers,
he did all his goal scoring in, his first 12, 13 years, and then after that, it was really slow. After he broke the record...
We should also say Ovi's been kind of robbed of a couple of seasons here. Like, he had the lockout
man,
in his draft year.
Sure.
He had the lockout again later, and then he had COVID too. So it's like
he's had
just
3
blown
seasons
past this completely, man. Like, it's crazy that he's still here.
He's had
And
3
what's-
seasons robbed from him, pretty much.
What's so impressive to me about Ovechkin is that looking at the stat lines, he did 894 in one less game than Wayne Gretzky did 894, which is so fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
in a lower scoring era.
In a lower scoring era, that's a record that
Way lower scoring.
Not only me, but everybody, literally everybody who's ever watched hockey said this is an unbreakable record.
Yeah.
I honestly, going into the season, I even had doubts that Ovechkin was going to do it because I didn't think I was like, okay, looking
Well, it
at
was a bit of a
how
down year
he
for him
has-
last year. Like,
I-
he got
I-
hot
I was
at
gonna
the
say,
end,
he had
but
to
he
start-
wasn't that great. Yeah.
down
At the
year
start of
last
last year, that
year.
guy barely had 10 goals. I think he had less than 10 goals in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
He did. He had.
It looked like he was cooked, dude. I thought he was done.
Yeah, everybody
I thought he was cooked.
done.
I thought, okay, so he's gonna have to play 3 more years, score 20 goals.
Yeah, that
each
was
year,
that
and
was the
then,
mentality.
Yeah, but he did it all this year. What the fuck? This guy's not human, and I think probably next year his pace does slow down just because, obviously getting older, but also there's not the big daunting 895.
But you know what?
to
I gotta
reach.
be honest. I don't know. Listen, he might not score 40 games. He's not gonna have everyone feeding him because they know that record's there. But the way he scores goals, the age really doesn't matter all that much as long as he still has that shot. He doesn't he doesn't skate that hard anymore. A lot of his goals are a lot more stationary, where he gets fed the puck one timer, and that shot will always be there. I don't think he's gonna lose that shot anytime soon. Right?
That 895 goal was ridiculous.
I wanted to say that
ridiculous.
that 895 goal that he scored today, that is the most OV goal you can get without it being a one-time around the power play.
So
Down the
clean,
wing,
dude.
wrist shot, perfect.
So
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
Pierre Engvall in the box, by the way, off of
know.
a trip off of Rasmus Sandin. It's
always
about the Leafs.
Always.
Oh,
But I
didn't
do
know
want to
that.
say another thing is that sorry, I'm just setting something up for the next topic after this. But what was I going to say? Oh my god, I lost my train of thought now. That's awful.
Dylan
I
Strome
fumbled.
rejuvenated Ovi.
He did.
Like,
no,
oh my
no, he
God.
did. Oh, you know what I want to talk about? Against Chicago, he had 2 goals, empty net with a chance. He obviously didn't want it,
Yes.
but I love seeing how happy he was for Ryan Leonard, who scored his first
Yeah.
NHL goal. And I
was
think
really
that's
cool.
one of my favorite things about Ovi's. How there's a lot of guys who, they're so happy to score when they do it, but when their teammates score, it's kind of like, all right, like whatever, like yeah, like congratulations. But if you watch Ovi when anybody scores, like on his
He's,
team,
like,
he's
so
losing
excited.
it. He's so happy.
He's so excited.
And
he
I
always
love
has
watching
this
it.
childlike joy whenever
Yeah.
anything like you especially saw it, like I mean you see it when anybody wins the cup,
Yeah.
but like it was different when it was
Oh, it was so much
like,
fun,
he was
dude.
elated. Oh my
We're
God.
not going to fucking suck this year.
He's great. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to add on to this or?
Just beast.
And
And
I
also,
wanna
unbelievable.
sorry,
Go ahead, Jacob.
go.
No, go ahead. Mine's not important.
I was just gonna say like that him rejecting the empty net goal was just boss shit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Yeah,
anybody,
yeah.
if you like have an NHL record
I would take
on
the
the
empty netter.
line, you're
What the
like
hell are
you're
you
gonna
talking
take the
about?
empty
Yeah.
netter. This guy's like, nah.
I scored 895
Boss.
goals in my career. You're gonna
Boss.
tell me the empty netter doesn't count? Yeah. Like, what?
Boss.
Nah. To be fair though, it would have been great to see that happen in Washington.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like it kind of sucks that it wasn't in Washington, but I mean,
A little bit. I kind of
In
said there's
Long
like no
Island, of
goal
all
horn.
places.
Like, there was no goal horn or anything like that. But one funny
the
thing about
Islanders
that.
tweet.
I was just about to bring that up. They're like, goal Washington, 2-1 Islanders. Just no mention. That was great. That was great.
It's like nothing
But yeah.
happened, and then they had a 20-minute stoppage for a ceremony.
Yeah.
Like,
and I remember reading
that was
something the other
also
day they were gonna-
ridiculous, by the way.
I was reading something else the other day that they were going to max the ceremony
For
to
7
7
minutes,
minutes on the
yeah.
ice. Like that did
That
not.
was not 7, dude.
Dude,
have
it
we
was
ever
never
seen
gonna be
that before?
7.
Like-
did they do
like,
it with Gretzky and Howe?
I don't know if they stopped
wasn't
the
allowed. I
game
don't
for
give a fuck.
20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I saw something that like they did it for
Thanks, Jacob.
something like that for
Like,
LeBron
great
James.
analysis over there. Really
I thought
appreciate
they-
that input.
I thought they did
Yeah,
something.
no worries, man.
I saw that they did something. I'm not like much
Oh,
of a
LeBron.
basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not much
Yeah.
of a basketball fan, so I don't know for sure. But like, did they do something like that when he broke?
Yeah, for LeBron they did. But listen, with hockey it's different because you're the guys on the ice. You have to clear them out.
Yeah, like
Like Kareem was sitting courtside, so you can literally just like walk on. For like you have to get all. It's a lot. But I do want to move on from the OV thing, as great as it is, and I want to stick with the Islanders because there's another big story that's been kind of overshadowed, I think, a little bit, just because of the goal
yes.
chase, and that is Anthony Duclair and Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh said post game, he was asked about his play, and he said, "God awful. He's lucky to be in the lineup." And
Yeah.
following that, it picked up a little bit of talk, but then, like I said, I think the goal chase kind of overshadowed it. And after that, I think there's a longer quote, and I think he said a little bit more than that, but that was more or less the gist of it. But him and Duclair had a meeting, and Duclair was granted time off, which I think is, it's kind of weird to see because they're coming down the stretch run, and you have a guy who's still under contract for another 3 years, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of like stuck in between the thought like, oh, like if that's what he needs, that's what he needs. But also like your coach criticized you, and I feel like you shouldn't leave your team. You shouldn't leave your team when you during a stretch run where you're still like technically in the playoff race. I don't know. I
Yeah.
found that kind of interesting.
there's definitely something going on mentally
Yeah,
in his game this
probably,
season.
yeah.
He got injured, I think, in
Yeah.
training camp it was, and it's just been a brutal year for him. 11
It
points
has.
in 44 games.
I thought that signing was
Yeah.
great, man. But I think, listen, it was because I thought, listen, that Barzal and Duclair line, I don't know how you stay with that line. And then both of them got hurt. And it was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you don't stay with that line because
Yeah.
they're not on the ice. So, I mean,
There's-
I don't
there's-
really know.
There's definitely
don't know.
something. There's definitely
Yeah.
something mentally going on in his game. And
Yeah,
I think
he
Yeah, I don't
he
know.
probably
It
won't
is
be
rough.
back with the Islanders next season.
gotta
I
be-
mean, after
Do they have a
all this, I
buyout
can
calculator? After Cap Friendly got shut down, I don't know.
imagine. I think
Yeah,
there's a fit
there's
for him.
one
Just
on-
last season, he had 15 points in 17 games with the Lightning after the deadline, and it was what 2 years ago that he was with. Florida and was still doing
I don't
well.
even-
There's a spot for him in this
I don't
league.
even want to say that he's like done with the Isles necessarily. I think there's a chance. Like, I don't think just because Pat Roy said what he said about him that he's like never
Roy.
going to come back to the Isles now.
I said
Or Patrick
Pat
Waugh,
Roy.
sorry. What the hell? Pat Roy.
I
What?
said
Patrick
Pat
Waugh,
Roy.
sorry.
That's
I can't believe I just said Pat Roy. Anyways, yeah, I mean, buyout doesn't really. It helps them a little bit for the next 3 seasons, and then actually it's
Do
not
you guys
that
want
bad.
to talk? Do you guys want to talk about the savings? 'Cause I have it up right now.
I have it
Sure.
up too. It's not that
Yeah.
bad.
It's 2.33 mil up until 27, 28, and then in 2029, then they start having a 1.16 cap hit against them, dead cap, until 3031, which honestly isn't that bad.
It's not that
So
bad.
if that's an avenue that they need to go down, I think you could do it. Like, it wouldn't be that
They
bad.
don't
think-
need to.
I
They
think-
can just stick this one out.
I think we need to start a dialogue more so about how Lou Lamoriello needs to go. Sorry, man. Like you're cooked. This league has
For sure.
gone past you. He hasn't made a substantial move really since.
I thought the
What,
Duclair
Bo
signing was
Horvat?
one of the most
I thought it was
progressive
great.
moves he's
I
made.
thought it was great.
I mean, like it's a decent signing, but like, is that gonna turn your team around? No. This team has
No,
been fighting like for a wild card spot the past 4 seasons.
But I
And
don't know if
the
there's
best
anything on
thing
the free
he's
agent
done.
market.
The
Sorry, go
best
ahead.
thing he's done was the what's it called, the Duclair signing, and then the Bo Horvat trade. That's it.
I
Those
don't
are
know
the
if there
two,
was
like,
anything on the free
moves
agent
he's
market
really made.
last year. I don't know if there's anything on the free agent market last year that really could have turned that team around, though. I think that was just that team is kind of a lost cause, and you just try to do what you can. Like, I thought they did great on that Nelson deal. Like, you get Callum Ritchie, kind of like their prospect pool was really like shitty for a bit there, and I think now it's starting to rebound a little bit. It also doesn't help that Dobson has been pretty terrible this year, like especially for his standards, and we'll see what happens there because I think he's an RFA at the end of this year, if I'm not wrong. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
I still think Lou has not done a good job with
No,
this
he
team
hasn't.
at all,
He
and
hasn't.
No.
and like the rumors around Noah Dobson is just like confusing because you're like forward core and just in general like your defense core too. You have one of the older cores in the league, and you want to move off of one of your only good young players.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Sitting on
adding up.
Kyle Palmieri makes no sense to me. Unless
Yeah,
there's
like,
literally
how- yeah, dude, this guy's like
nothing.
35.
I think me and Seb talked about that on the deadline day,
Yeah.
or our deadline show.
Yeah.
Like Palmieri, you could have brought something out of for sure, and I don't think you
Man,
need
like
him.
Definitely.
is this guy really going to be like a considerable part of your? You know what it feels like he's doing right now, Lou Lamoriello. You know, like at the end of franchise mode when like, you know, you're in those like last couple of years and you're just like signing guys to 8-year contracts that you like. Because you know it's gonna end in like 2 years, so you're like, I don't give a fuck if I sign
He's gonna
this
get the
guy.
mode completes.
Yeah, like
screen
you're gonna get the
next
mode
year.
complete screen. Like that's what it feels like a lot of the time with some of these moves, because it's like this doesn't make sense for your long term future for a team that like doesn't necessarily need to be competing right now. Like you've been in a wild card spot for like 3 or 4 years, man. You're not a good team. Like let's be
Yeah.
honest. At the end of they're not a good team. They're
No,
just
they're-
not. They're not good.
Like they need to like win the draft lottery or something to help them. Like you know
Just
how
not a good team.
Carolina was kind of in a similar place a couple years ago. Then they got Svechnikov and have been better since then.
Like Kyle
something
Palmieri.
snapped.
Kyle Palmieri is 33 years old. You need that guy long term. Your team fucking sucks. You don't
What's
need
the
Kyle
long term? He's got
Palmieri.
3 more years in the league.
Like your team stinks, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Like
Okay.
they got what, Simon Holstrom, Noah Dobson.
he's good.
all right. Like
I
don't
think
know.
I don't know. I don't think there's much more to add unless you guys do
Yeah, we
have
can-
something.
the Isles pissed.
I just
Stop
thought
Miles
I
slander.
just thought that was kind of interesting because I thought, like I said, you don't really see players just like get granted time off after coaching. And another interesting thing about this that we didn't mention is Patrick Waugh was Duclair's coach in junior, so you would have thought. Yeah, I think he was with the Ramparts, and I mean, I don't know. You would have thought that maybe that relationship would have been a little bit better, just based off the fact that he's had them before, and I wouldn't be surprised if Waugh asked Lou to go after him because he's had him in junior. He knows the type of guy. And
Well, I
player
mean,
he
yeah,
is,
you
but-
can't imagine they had a bad relationship going into the season if
Yeah.
Duclair signed there.
Yeah, on a long-term deal too. Like I doubt. Yeah, but anyways, that's interesting. I want to move on to the playoff race, and just a quick heads up for NHL scores here. As we're recording at night, so a lot of the final scores have wrapped up here. Islanders beat Caps today 4-1. Wild beat Stars 3-2. Sens destroyed the Jackets 4-0. Red Wings beat Florida 2-1. Sabres
Rough weekend for Columbus.
Yeah, the Sabres beat the Bruins 6-3. No one cares about Chicago, Pittsburgh, but the Blackhawks won 3-1. And we're coming to the end. The game that actually matters that I did want to bring up, the Canadians are beating Nashville 2-1 with 2 minutes left in that game, or a minute and 50 left in that game. So it looks like the Habs will hold on and get the 2 points. At the very least, they'll get one, which is another huge point in the playoff race, which we're going to talk about right now, actually. And I think right now we're kind of seeing it kind of be locked up. I don't really think there's going to be any more movement. I think we have our playoff teams right now.
Let's start with the West.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so in the West, it looks like it's definitely going to be. Listen, Calgary is kind of hanging around, but I think they're kind of out of it. I don't see, like, if they beat Minnesota, maybe, but I doubt it. But Minnesota and St. Louis look to be the two teams that are going to the spots.
The West is locked up. It's not. There's no way Calgary makes up a 6-point difference right now.
They have 2 games in hand. I mean,
and a game against Minnesota, which is what I was saying.
I mean, still though, I
think Calgary's kind of falling
like,
off here. Like they're not getting the goaltending that they were getting before, which is why I'll finally give up my Wolf stance for the Calder. It was a great run.
Yeah. I hate
Lane Hudson
that it's gonna be Lane Hudson.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I can't fight it anymore. I can't fight it. I was trying so hard to fight for Celebrini, but
he's really good.
He deserves it.
It's too bad.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, sticking to the Western Conference, it looks like it's going to be Minnesota and St. Louis, and that was just a matter of who takes the wildcard 1 spot to face. Like, it's so shitty for each of these teams. It's like, oh, you win wildcard 1, your reward is playing Vegas in the first round, or you get to the playoffs, your reward is playing Winnipeg, and it's like, oh, dude, those are 2 tough teams.
I'm taking Winnipeg.
I think Winnipeg. Listen, what's interesting about Minnesota is they're going to get Kaprizov back, and this team's different when they're healthy. Like I think we saw at the start of the year with how good they were, and they were keeping up with the Jets there for a little bit, and then they got hurt and they kind of fell off. But they're going to get Kaprizov back. I still think it'll be a good series, but I do think Winnipeg takes that, and I think they should be very grateful that no one can beat St. Louis right now because I think St. Louis would have just beat them in the first round. I'm not going to lie.
St. Louis is never going to lose again. They're never going to lose again.
Well, the big thing with St. Louis is Holloway's hurt week to week now. Like, what happens if he's not available for the playoffs? That'd be a big loss, you know?
That's not good for them. I mean, I
thought it was day to day.
No, I saw week to week.
Week to week.
Yeah, so I think St. Louis takes the first wild card. They have St. Louis Vegas round 1. Like, it is week to week for Holloway.
That's rough.
That's a rough first round series, man. Yeah. That's gonna be a good one. And Pietrangelo against the Blues. That'll be
every Jets fan should be so happy about St. Louis playing well, man. Because listen, you don't want to play the hot team coming to the playoffs. You play that hot team coming to the playoffs, and it's just scary. And that we'll get to it. But I'm kind of scared of Ottawa. I'm not gonna lie, because they've just been steamrolling teams right now. And I know their schedule. I mean, their schedule's been like fine. They played Florida. They just played Columbus again. Like it's not.
I will say about that. I saw this interesting post. I forget what the account was. I'm like 90% sure it was Data Driven Hockey on Instagram. If you guys follow them, but it was essentially analyzing exactly that, like hot teams coming into the playoffs, and I think basically they I don't know too much about the math that they get in on that, but basically their findings were that if you're hot coming into the playoffs, it doesn't necessarily mean much for your playoff performance.
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily mean much, but I'd much rather play against a team that scraps for the wild card 2 and is kind of like just piecing together points as they go in, because I think that's more of a sign of a team who doesn't have it together than a team who's just like rolling. And there's putting some
absolutely.
Dude, St. Louis
there's been some impressive wins for St. Louis too.
St. Louis doesn't lose.
No.
Also, like Cam Fowler.
Yeah.
Cam Fowler is just randomly like insane for St. Louis. Dude, like he's cracked. I picked him up in fantasy. And this guy just like randomly drops like 3-point games.
They trade like a 4th round pick for him?
Yeah, they traded nothing for Cam Fowler.
Dude, he has 34 points in 47 games.
Yeah,
and they got him for a 4th round pick. No, sorry, it was a 2nd round pick. But he has 34 points in 47 games.
No,
it's still like the St. Louis found value in guys that I don't know if teams didn't find value in them, but they didn't value them as much as St. Louis. So they took a big swing on those two offer sheets, and looking at it right now, they have a 12-game win streak going. But
I mean,
yeah,
it's the Washington Capitals method for the retool,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Just
you said,
grab
finding
guys
team
that you
players
find
that are
value
undervalued.
in.
Yeah.
Also, like, and then Jordan Binnington too has just been ridiculous ever since the Four Nations. Also, I saw this the other day and it made me laugh so hard. It was like just on Reels, and there was like an Alexei Torpchenko fan account that like they posted an edit of Alexei
Torpchenko, man.
Dude,
Last year I wanted
Torpchenko has a nasty highlight reel. It is ridiculous. This guy just like
Alexei
random.
Torpchenko.
Dude, this
Oh
guy
my God, I love
randomly
this guy so
drops
much,
this
dude.
like
It's
highlight reel
crazy.
goals. It's
He reminds
so
me of Paul
funny.
Cotter, dude. He reminds me of Paul Cotter.
It's so funny. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, Alexei Torpchenko,
He
excuse
had
me?
14 goals last year. All right, I wasn't familiar.
He's also a
me.
big guy too, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
Do they have Texier still?
Yes, they do.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, you're right. I do want to move on, but stay in the Western Conference. I think another big thing that's happening in the West is the second and third spots in the Pacific. Edmonton, it kind of looked like they were going to run away with it a little bit, I think, this year at times. And the Kings have gotten hot. They've played really well, and they've taken a 4-point gap on Edmonton. They just beat them yesterday. At the time we're recording this, it was yesterday. They shut them out 3-0, and it's LA's rolling, man. That team looks really good right now, and it's gonna be a really interesting first round series. And I'm torn because I think Edmonton, you get McDavid back, you get Draisaitl still there, and I think they could still do it. But man, that goaltending really scares me.
I've been ringing the Kings bell for a couple weeks now. I still think that they're gonna take the Oilers. They're gonna take the series.
I'm gonna say this is the best chance the Kings have, but
sure.
I can't. I've said this so many times. I can't look at what's happened the past 3 years and just say, yeah, you know what, the Kings are gonna beat the Oilers this time. Like this happens every year. McDavid and Draisaitl, you go into the playoffs, they just take it over, and it doesn't matter how bad Stuart Skinner is. It doesn't matter how bad the defense is. They go into that series and they take shit over until they come across a team that just is
Outpowers them.
Substantially better than them, or like you said, outpowers them. And last year that didn't happen until they faced Florida, and
they almost beat them too, man. They almost came back there.
Listen, like I don't know if Edmonton's gonna go deep this year because of how bad the goaltending's been this season. But I can't look at the Kings and say, yeah, this team has made the strides and improvements that I think are needed to beat the Oilers. Like it's been 3 straight years of this. It's about to be 4. I can't. I can't.
What I'll say about LA is they've flipped me from being 100% on the Oilers to kind of 50-50, and I think it's a coin toss. And I really don't think there's I don't know how you could really feel really decisive about one team in this series. I don't think you can. I think
it's definitely the closest it's been. Like I say this all, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings won. Yeah, if they found a way to pull it together. It's more just like,
especially
no
if
matter how
not healthy, man.
Yeah,
like, he's so good, but if he's not healthy, he's not healthy. Like
it's more just that, like, no matter how close it is for me, I'm always going to take the Oilers on this, just because like until the Kings beat the Oilers and I see it, I have to take the Oilers in my head because I can't, like,
I know I predict Los Angeles winning the series. That's obviously more like if I have to make the decision between the two teams, right? I'm picking Los Angeles, and that's, I think, says more about my lack of faith in the Oilers this season than anything else. Like, even if they do beat Los Angeles, which is not an unlikely outcome, I don't see the Oilers making it past even round 2. Like, a lot will have to go right for them. Like, I think they don't have the forward depth.
They don't have the forward depth or the D depth. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough of anything aside from star power to really make a run in the playoffs. I'm gonna be honest.
That being said, like, they didn't last year either, and
that's my thing. It's
kind
like
of cruise their way to the final.
The problems they have now are the same problems they had last year.
I think
if we're being real, besides the
forward core was better last year. I think the depth.
but
But dude, in the playoffs,
like,
listen,
Warren
you
Fogle
have-
was big for them.
You have to wait until the playoffs come around to really see what happens. But you had Janmark chipping in a lot. You had Fogle chipping in a lot. You had, if I'm not
Is
wrong,
Janmark not there?
Yeah, Mark's still there.
No, I know, but I'm saying that like sometimes you get those contributions from those guys in 1 year because he's not a top player, but
I
you
see,
catch
I
fire
see.
in the playoffs, and that's what it is. So we'll see if he does that again. If I'm not wrong, Holloway still chipped in here and there. Didn't he play a few games in the playoffs?
Holloway
For sure.
was pretty good for them in the playoffs too.
That's
he had like
what
5
I
or 6
remember,
goals.
Yeah.
That
So,
fourth line,
they're
I think it
missing
was
something.
Janmark, Brown, and Perry. I think was their fourth line, and that was an electric line. They were.
We'll see what happens with Trent Frederick too, because he just played his
That's
first
true.
game. So
Oh,
maybe
true,
he
true.
catches form a little bit and he plays and he's a big ad, but we'll see.
I
do
think they were
wanna-
expecting a lot more out of Arvidsson and Skinner this year.
I
and
was too,
obviously
man. I thought they
Yeah,
would be
but
great fits.
everybody did.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you have a crystal ball, you don't sign either of those guys, and you just say, "Oh, Dylan Holloway is going to score 60
Yeah.
points. Let's just keep that fucking guy."
I think even without the crystal ball, I said when they offer sheeted them, they should have matched Holloway. Like I didn't.
I mean,
They spent more on.
Why did you
Skinner
draft him?
Yeah, bro,
Why do you
spent-
draft
yeah,
anybody
yeah.
ever? If you're just gonna let him go. when you get
Broberg, I
offered you for
100%
$2 million
understood. I'm
bucks.
like, dude, I wouldn't give Broberg what they gave him,
No.
but Holloway I thought was reasonable even for if you're just trying to
He-
resign him. But
Dude,
with-
they spent more on Skinner than they did on Holloway.
Holy shit, they have a lot of injuries right now. Oh my
yeah,
god.
they do. I want to move on to the East now. I think the Rangers are still kind of hanging around. They have the same amount of games played as
Nah.
Montreal, but I do think it's wrapped up. I think we're
Montreal
just
just won, so they're
Oh,
up
they'll
to
be,
85 points now.
And then the Rangers will have a game at hand, and they play Tampa tomorrow, which is going to be a tough game. But I still think it's going to be Ottawa, Montreal. I think we can confidently say that, unless it's something like Montreal falls off here with the last little bit. But I don't see that happening.
Doubt it. They've been good.
They're running away with it. I think it's
Yeah,
it's gonna be
looking-
Montreal, Ottawa. Everything's
It's
shaping
l-
up now.
It's looking like we're gonna get a Battle of Ontario, and then we'll
Maybe
see.
not.
Because we're talking right. We had Florida on the L line.
Dude.
Florida is they've
They're
lost
terrible. 5 straight
don't know.
almost. I think.
I'm not quite. Oh, I think this is already updated, but they're 5
Three
straight
straight.
losses after today. So yeah, I mean, listen, we'll see. Ottawa's been playing well. They've won 3 straight. They're only 2 points back, and we say points are hard to come up with or close a gap like this time of year. But when it's only 2 points, it's only 2 points. It's a 1-game swing. So listen, I think we could see Florida dropping into the wild card, and that terrifies me because then you're gonna have to put the Leafs.
the Leafs.
The Leafs will play
Round
a
one, man.
fully.
Like,
The Leafs finally win their division, and their reward is here is a fully healthy.
Matthew
all you gotta do
Tkachuk.
is win the division. All you
Yeah.
gotta do is win the division, and you get a better opponent round one.
Nope.
Fucking nope. You get Brad Marchand and Matthew Tkachuk.
They're
and
doing it on
Alex Sam
purpose.
Bennett.
They're doing it
and
on purpose.
Carter
This is my
Verhaeghe and Sam
head
Reinhart.
canon. Dude, my head canon is that they're doing this on purpose. They're like, you know what? The Leafs are going to win the division. Maybe let's let Ottawa close the gap. They get third, and then we can play the Leafs in the first round.
Yeah, they don't want to play Tampa. Like they
I,
know
I, I,
Tampa's
I,
better.
this is my head canon. I'm fully
They,
believing
they,
this now.
they
This
could
is
also
a
just
conspiracy
win
theory
and
that
then
I'm starting.
play Ottawa. That's also an option. They could just win their games
No,
and
it's
play Ottawa.
easier to lose and play the Leafs.
It's easier to
because
lose and
it's
play
funny.
the Leafs. And dude, I would love
This-
if
this
I
is
was
not a
any
thing.
other team
This
that
is
was
not
not the Leafs, I'd love to play the Leafs in the playoffs. Like that, they'd be my first pick
100%.
every time.
I mean,
Dude,
that's
all
why
we do is
like
choke. Like obviously you want to play us, but
that's why teams should be. That's why St. Louis should be trying to be the second wild card, so they get Winnipeg because Winnipeg's the Leafs of the Western Conference, man.
they are. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of
Can we
kind
do a
of torn
40?
right now.
If we draw Florida in the first round, can we do like a 50-minute episode where I'm literally screaming the entire time?
Yeah,
Like for the
I'm down
entire
that.
like 40,
well,
50
you can make a
minutes, I'm
TikTok.
just screaming.
You can make a TikTok, a full length TikTok. You know they do that. You can post on or just yeah.
I'll just be mad if it's Florida because we'll be getting robbed of a great series too. Like Toronto Ottawa would be such an exciting
Dude,
series.
imagine you have the Battle of Ontario and the Battle of Florida as the 2 first-round matchups. That'd be unbelievable.
Florida needs to die. Relocate the team.
They,
I wish they never
they
got good and
practically have.
relocated.
All those guys are not playing. Like,
I think I don't think Ekblad's gonna be back for the playoffs though.
no, he
He'll
will.
be back for
he's,
game
he's,
3.
only, he's back for.
Is
game
there
3.
only a regular game?
It's
No,
he
no,
misses
it's-
the first 2 games of the first round and then he's done.
Oh,
which makes that detour so much better because we have not seen. I think we've seen like one game of Seth Jones and Ekblad on that blue line, and I think they've been missing. Like they're missing other guys too. So
Jones has been good.
Oh my heavens!
I do want to talk about Washington because I said I didn't want to take away from Chrissy in the moment. They're going to lose in the first round, and I'm putting that out there right now. You have Logan Thompson.
Montreal?
They will lose to Montreal. Listen right now, okay? Logan Thompson out week to week. We'll see what happens when he gets back.
Protoss out week to week too.
Protoss out
Good
week to week.
God.
They're injured. You look at the stretch of how they've been playing. It's been shit. They've been conceding way too many goals, and I think they've been too much in the mindset of. I fully understand it. At least it's the same thing with Matthews, was close to 70, but they're just trying to feed him, and I don't think they care too much about how the game ends up because they're so far ahead of anything that were to happen. Like the Leafs or Tampa won't catch them for first in the Eastern Conference. No one in their division is challenging them for the top spot. And I don't think they're in the mindset to play playoff hockey. And I think you're going to see a team in Montreal who's been clawing and fighting for like the whole back half of the season now, just trying to pull themselves back into the wildcard race and now holding on to that spot. And I really honestly do believe that Montreal will beat them in the first round because I don't think they're in the right mindset. I think the injuries are tough. And honestly, I still think Logan Thompson was a little bit of a question mark in the playoffs because we haven't seen him play there. I think any goalie, doesn't matter how great you play in the regular season, is a question mark in the playoffs until you play improved in the playoffs. So that was still a question mark for me.
This is not like an egregious take.
I can't lie, you might have cooked here.
I honestly,
I think that they're gonna lose in the first round.
Our viewers and you guys are gonna hate me for this too because this is like a Leafs podcast, but I do have a soft spot for Montreal just because growing up, my sister and my mom are Montreal fans, so we cheered for Montreal.
Save it. No. Save it. I don't want to hear it.
How do I kick him from the call?
I know.
I'm admin, so fuck you.
Shit.
I can kick you. Kick you both. I'll finish off this show myself.
Eyes on Montreal.
Eyes on Montreal. Yeah, you could do your own.
Like I cheer for Montreal over Washington, but like
you're gross.
That's horrific.
You're a hooligan. Infidel.
Anyways, I think Jake. We wanted to do the trade deadline. Trade deadline.
Wait,
I don't think we have enough time.
We don't have time.
Can we? Okay, yeah, fair. We can do that next episode. But I guess I have one more thing on the playoffs. New Jersey is gonna lose in 3 games to Carolina.
Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about Jersey. I don't think I have a shot. Like, they don't have a shot in hell to beat Carolina.
No.
I think it's just over.
Leafs are gonna win against Ottawa in 7 games.
You know what Jersey
Leafs don't
kind of
win game
reminds.
sevens.
You know what kind of this Jersey season kind of reminds me of? It's the year that we lost to Columbus. Because I feel like we were just kind of leaking oil the whole year up until the end, and when it ended,
lost to a Zamboni.
It was the least upset I've ever been in a first round loss, aside from that Washington series, which I don't think counts for anything because they were all rookies, and I didn't really care what happened. Like I was just happy to be there. But after that Columbus series, I was like, finally, I could stop watching this team because I hated that roster so much. And this New Jersey team reminds me of it. Yeah,
dude, you remember we watched Game 4.
Yeah,
they were down 3-0, and me and Mateo went to the Xbox and just played ones on
with
NHL 19. We played ones on NHL 19 for pretty much the entire third period. Yeah. We heard, I think Nylander scored the first goal, and we were like we were so cool. Pissed. We were
garbage
awesome, great. I don't even know who scored the second goal. I think it was Hyman. I think Hyman scored the third goal.
Or no, was it JT? JT scored the second goal.
And we were like, okay, wait, this is interesting. We go back.
Scored the winner.
Zach Hyman scores.
Kasperi
Kapanen.
It was Austin Matthews.
It was Austin. Yeah, it was Austin Matthews. It was Austin Matthews in overtime.
Who made that call again? It was Jim Houston, right? That guy hated Toronto.
Yeah, he was a Vancouver fan.
That guy hates Toronto.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like New Jersey, I think, is just waiting for the season to end. Like, I don't think there's any hope there.
Keith hockey.
Well, listen, as much as I don't like Keith, I don't think it's his fault. Like, I think when you have Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton and Markstrom's been hurt all year.
Although,
it's just been
man, you know what? They were playing shit when Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton were still healthy. They've been playing bad since January.
You'd think they'd get a bigger bump from no longer having Lindy Ruff at the helm.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings me to the final point of the pod. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. I was not on the pod when Torts got fired. I wish I was. Hear me out. Hear me out. Just listen. Torts. A lot of people think Boston. I see Boston. I think Boston is the most likely if he is going to coach again. Boston makes total sense. It could definitely be Boston, but hear me out. You want to end the longest playoff drought in sports, in major sport history, I think it is right now, or no, the longest ongoing drought. Terry Pegula, I know you don't like to spend money on the Sabres. And thank you so much for paying Josh Allen and everyone on the Bills and leaving the Sabres to rot. But hear me out. Fire Lindy Ruff, okay? Bring in John Tortorella. You make the playoffs once. You sign him to the 5-year deal. You're rich. Does not matter. Pay him not to coach. Pay him not to coach.
No, because, you know...
Make the playoffs once. Get the market fired up again. End the drought. This happened with the Bills. Long playoff drought. We made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor as our quarterback. Went 9-7. Lost to Jacksonville in the wildcard game. Nobody cared. We made the playoffs. Oh my God, we made the playoffs. Do it with the Sabres. Hire Torts. Make the playoffs. And the drought's over. And then you stop talking about the drought.
Let's end the Sabres playoff drought with a coach who didn't make the playoffs for the last 4 years of his coaching
Whoa!
career.
Listen. This Buffalo roster is so much better than the Philly roster. It is definitely better.
He was in a wild card spot with that team last year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you.
I'm saying they fell apart.
I know they fell apart.
He's ass.
Yeah, okay. Dude, they fell apart, but look at their fucking goalies. Carter Hart had to be banished, and we all know why. But he pulled Fedotov from Russia. He pulled him from the Russian government, by the way. That guy was playing in what was it? Where was he playing?
Siberia.
Siberia. He was playing for the Russian military team, dude. He pulled him from Russia. He brought him in. And I will never forget the press conference.
Are we going to get more Sammy Urson strays?
I was just about to bring it up. They asked him about Urson and Fedotov, or Urson. And Torts said, I'm pretty sure this is
He's trying.
Sammy is trying his best out there.
I remember that quote. That was so sad, man.
Dude, they don't have goaltending. If you could get a competent defensive structure around UPL, I do think there is a little bit of ability there.
Philly will never have a goalie again. Philly will never.
They've never had a goalie.
They're cursed.
They've never had a goalie, dude.
No, they had Hextall. Hextall was all right, but like Ilya Brizgalov was
the 80s and 90s.
Ilya Brizgalov.
That's the last time they've had a
Michael
goalie.
Michael Layden.
Michael Neuvirth.
Leaf selection.
Michael
Oh
Neuvirth.
no, that's Michael Neuvirth.
Yeah.
Was the Leaf selection.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. That's where we're wrapping. We're clipping that and we're putting it on TikTok.
I can't believe I just said Ilya Brizgalov.
Torts to Buffalo. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for listening.